The rules of writing are an arguable topic. Some editors, and even professors, review submissions for perfect grammatical and syntactic structure, and then send it back to the writer to have the writer's individual voice edited out. Consider that if rules were set, unwavering and unchanging, we would lose the ability to be creative with one of the very things we have the ability to freely manipulate: language. To use architecture as an analogy, if rules were set for house structure and design back in the early 1600s or 1800s, and it was decided through lawmaking that a specified design was the best one, that this was the best design and this was what was taught in design schools, eventually no one would challenge the idea. Ultimately, the tighter the jar we fit our world in, the less we think and grow. With language, most people have the ability to experiment and create and be imaginative. One example of a writing technique that doesn't follow conventional story development methods is the cut-up method popularized by William S. Burroughs, where a linear work of literature is literally cut up into individual phrases and fragments, then reassembled into a complex and difficult-to-read work. Though some rule-breaking techniques may not become mainstream, aspects of them do stick around to influence other works. For example, William S. Burroughs credits T.S. Eliot's poem The Wasteland as an early example of this style. Later, Radiohead used this technique for their song Kid A. However, gross and even arbitrary rule-breaking may turn readers away from literature or spawn a generation of writers that don't understand the bases behind the choices and instead implement an imitation of the writing that results in bad writing. A current example is the idea of self-publishing. If the literary market is flooded with examples of bad writing, then the style and narrative structure and employment of rhetorical devices fade to the back, and the bad writing becomes the accepted standard. If we think about all these examples, maybe the answer is that it is important to maintain a basic set of rules designed to prevent complete degradation and dissolution of the English language. Either way, as writers, we must make a choice. All of this discussion and reflection is to progress the learning and the evolution of the English language. Sharing perspectives and learnings and recognizing your own assertion is the force that rotates the tank treads through the muck and move us ever forward.